see from the map here, Lucerne, Switzerland, lies on the shores of beautiful Lake Lucerne. The water flowing from the lake forms a river that runs right through the center of Lucerne, with important landmarks of the city lying on each side of the river. On the north side is the old city of Lucerne, along with the famous Lion Monument. The Schweizerhof Hotel, which I've stayed in several times, lies on this north shore. On the other side of the river lies the newer conference center and the train station. You can see the rail lines coming in. Crossing the river in several locations, you can see, of course, there's the vehicle roadway, but then there are several old covered bridges made of wood that one can use to cross the river but have become historic landmarks. So those are the sites of Lucerne that we'll be looking at.
The Google Earth view that we just saw showed the general layout of Lucerne. I've visited Lucerne on 3 separate occasions while attending the European Fuel Cell Forum, which occurs annually. Before I show my somewhat random collection of video clips from those 3 visits, I thought it might be useful to see some of the highlights of the main sites around Lucerne. So I looked and found a YouTube video by Yellow Productions that gives a nice tour of the main sites of Lucerne. So I borrowed a few highlights from their video.
Lucerne has a very impressive main train station. It's been rebuilt. The facade of the old one is still here, but you'll find the train station will be your most convenient way to get in and out of Lucerne. There's tons of shops in it. It's also the jumping off point for most buses to take you around the city, and the ferries that'll take you on the Golden Round Trip. The basement level of the train station is also home to one of Lucerne's latest open supermarkets. It's also a great place to get chocolate at Laderock and cheap eats. Check out the currywurst right here. Next to the train station, in this big black modern looking building that almost looks like a UFO landed, is Lucerne's concert hall and art museum. We'll visit the Lion Monument, Lucerne's biggest attraction, depicting the Swiss troops who died in 1792 in the French Revolution. Just above the Lion Monument is the Glacier Garden. It's a natural rock formation that happened when glaciers moved over this part of Lucerne many, many years ago. You can visit the Bourbaki Panorama. It's in this kind of nondescript building here. It is a 10-meter high by 112-meter wraparound panoramic painting that is of the French internment, where the French army was interned in Switzerland back in 1891. It's very interesting. One of the most iconic sites in Lucerne is the Chapel Bridge. It is the oldest covered wooden bridge in all of Europe. It goes from one side of the river to the other side of the river, and it's not just pretty, which it is, but it also has great function. And actually, if you look up here, it has a bunch of historical art across the whole bridge. It did catch on fire, and so it's been rebuilt a little bit. Make sure to check out the second bridge a little further down the river. While this bridge is not quite as touristy or as long as the first one I was on, this one is original, and one thing in common with all the art on the top of this bridge, it all has a skeleton in it to remind people who pass on this bridge that death comes eventually. This bridge also has a little bit extra function to it in that it has a little bit of a dam, but really the purpose of it is to generate power, and it generates power enough for 1,000 households in Lucerne. We'll take a stroll through Lucerne's Old Town. Start walking around the Old Town, make sure to look up. Lots of the buildings have very elaborate paintings on them. In Lucerne, definitely take a stroll along the river in the middle of the city. On this side, which is the side with the train station, there's often farmers markets set up. And on the other side, the side of the Old Town, there's a whole bunch of restaurants that basically flank the river, a festive place at night. Then we'll head up to the city walls to see really great views. I'm in one of the towers of the city wall. You can come up on top of the hill over the Old Town to these towers and check out some slightly obstructed views of Lucerne. And you can walk along the tower wall to a couple other towers, and you can go inside the one that's the clock tower. But the clock tower definitely has better views than the first tower you walk up at the main entrance. Then we'll go over and see a dinner show at the Stadtkeller restaurant, and we'll with a little bit of going up Mount Pilatus, the greatest day trip from Lucerne. Though I've got a whole other video on that. You can find the link in the description.
Now that we've had a tour of the main sites around Lucerne, I'll begin my video and photos right here at the Schweitzer Hotel, where as you can see, I have a really nice view of beautiful Lake Lucerne right here on my hotel balcony. So I hope you enjoy the sights around Lucerne.